Hey, everybody, and welcome to Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. My name is Sean Ray, and if you think about it, if your planet was tidally locked, then the time of day would be a physical location. Joining me tonight in the historic Infinite Potato Studio, we have Scott. How are you, sir? Trying to keep his beer from exploding.
I don't know what happened there. Oh, but luckily it dripped on my brand new pants.
All right. So,
Hi.
we have a few things that we're going to talk about tonight. And I thought we would start with talking about just some of the stuff that we've been watching, a little bit of news that's come out over the last couple of days. I know we got the announcement yesterday that Legends of Tomorrow is being canceled. Is it being canceled after the new season, or is it just done?
I'm assuming that they're not going to be making any more because I think it's early enough in the year that they wouldn't have necessarily started production on the next season. And I can't remember which was the latest season, if it was season 7 or 8.
I haven't watched it in a while, so I don't remember.
I'm a full season behind.
Yeah.
I know I have an entire season in my media library that I haven't watched yet. I'm, I think, 2 full seasons behind on Batwoman, which is also canceled.
Yeah.
The Flash, I'm a full season behind on that as well.
Yeah, I know.
The only thing that I'm current with is Superman and Lois.
It got renewed, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it get canceled after this season.
Oh, yeah, they got renewed for what I'm assuming is its final season, even though I don't think they've said it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be their final season.
I haven't watched The Flash in a couple of years, and it's not, I mean, I know everybody says that it's not good anymore. I don't know. I haven't been watching it, but I didn't just consciously say I'm going to stop watching this show. I don't know if my taste just changed or whatever. A lot of those shows I haven't seen, other than Superman and Lois, which I haven't seen the new season of Superman and Lois yet. But it's definitely, I definitely will, because I loved that first season.
First season was good. I'm enjoying the second season as well.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's I don't want to say it's superhero fatigue, because I've heard that kind of pushed around a lot. Because it's not like I don't want to go see Marvel movies when they come out. I'm gonna go see Doctor Strange at the drive-in this weekend.
The fatigue is on the part of the writers of these CW shows, and I cite The Flash specifically. It's just tired writing. It's formulaic. It's very predictable. You know exactly what's going to happen every episode, and they still, for years now, they are falling into the same problem every episode, which is whoever the villain of the week is on The Flash, they're going to be causing some havoc. Flash is going to run to the scene. He's going to skid to a stop, and he's going to talk to the villain. The villain's going to talk to him. The villain is going to take a swipe, and it's going to knock down the Flash, and the villain's going to run away.
Yeah. Which
is ridiculous, because it should be impossible to knock down the Flash. He can run faster than time.
Yeah.
You can't quick draw this guy, but it happens every week.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives me crazy. Also, the writing is uninspired. They're too repetitive. Even within the same episode, they'll say the same things over and over again. Too many, just...
And it's not a DC thing, because DC's got Peacemaker. I thought Peacemaker was great.
Yeah, when you get talented people to come in and work hard to make an entertaining show, then you get something like Peacemaker.
Yeah.
When you get writers who are told, come up with 20 some odd episodes worth of script and tell a story, set it up in the first episode and have the villain carry through the season until they defeat the big bad at the end of the season, and make it take up 20 some odd episodes.
Yeah.
That's not as easy as it sounds. I mean, Peacemaker was what, 8 episodes?
Yeah. And I think and I'm starting to be a big fan of that. The 22, 23 episode season is kind of a thing that's mostly gone away, except in the big networks. The big networks want to keep doing that. And even some of their shows are turning into 16 episode series and stuff like that. But I'm starting to become a big fan of when I hear of a show that's just going to be 8 or 10 episodes a season, that I know that they're going to cut a lot of the fluff out.
Exactly.
It's
going to be more streamlined. It's going to be more packed with important stuff and a lot less empty filler.
Yeah.
And it allows them to spend more money per episode because you're not spreading across, that many more installments.
Yeah.
There are benefits all over the place. I don't know why shows don't do that more. And with stuff that's still on regular network television, if it's a show where they're trying to tell one story across an entire season, it's going to be slow going. It's going to have sluggish parts because they're trying to fill 20 plus episodes with this one story. But you notice that all these shows, one thing that most of these shows have in common with a 20 plus episode season is they're going to go on a holiday break.
Yeah.
There's going to be a sizable hiatus right in the middle of the season. They're going to have a mid-season finale, and then you wait for a while, and then you come back for the rest of it. You can cut down on the filler and have a more compact and efficient story if you just tell 2 stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beginning of the season to the mid-season finale, that's one story. Boom, done. But, build in a hook or a cliffhanger to bring people back, but make that one story. Don't try to make a single story last for all those 22 episodes, because that's too much.
Yeah.
People are going to get bored. It's going to get slow. Just first half of the season is one story. Next half of the season, that's a different story.
Some series do that. The fall finale didn't used to be a thing. When I was a kid, the show would just stop coming out it would start in September and it would last until about mid-November, and then it would stop until January. But now they have a fall finale, which is, they have some big event or whatever that's supposed to get you to come back when the show returns in January. But have you been watching Moonknight?
Yes, I have. I did. Yeah, I think I want the latest episode. I think it was the latest episode. This is a 6 episode miniseries, right?
Yeah, I think they've got 1 episode left.
Yeah, I watched it. It was episode 5.
Yeah, by the time this comes out, it'll be over. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched episode 5 at the time of this recording. It was either this morning or yesterday, as well as the latest episode of Superman and Lois.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to make today a sit back, watch a bunch of TV, and play a whole lot of Star Trek Online because it's my birthday. I can do what I want.
Oh, happy birthday!
I just spent the whole day taking in media in different forms, including a 2 hour and 40-minute movie that we're going to discuss that I finished less than 10 minutes before we started recording.
Oh, wow.
And like Rick, I have some things to say.
But yeah, I think Oscar Isaac is doing an incredible job on this series, and it's a thing about modern series, like we were talking about, where you just do these 6 or 8 episode series. You can get bigger names because most I heard somebody, who was it? I heard somebody talking about this on a podcast. I think it was Rosenbaum's podcast, that it may have been Mark Paul Gosselaar when he was on, talking about the fact that a lot of movie actors don't want to do TV, but now they will, because they can just go in and do 8 episodes and they're done with it. You know, and it's just like shooting a movie. You know, it's basically the same length of time that they would spend making a big budget movie or whatever. You know, they just do 8 episodes, it comes out, they're done with it, they get paid, and they can move on. So
it should also be pointed out that this is Disney Plus. We're talking about making a miniseries that's part of the MCU.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different than, you know, trying to get a big name to come on for a 4 episode arc on the new Saved by the Bell.
Well, yeah, yeah, but like they were able to get like Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson came on and did True Detective a few years ago, because it's just a short 1-season series and they were done with it. And now they're able to get some of these bigger actors to come on and do like you said, it's a Disney Plus show or whatever. It's tied into the MCU, but there's no guarantee that we're going to see Oscar Isaac play this character again in a movie. You know, that he's.
I don't think we're going to see him again. I think he's gone on record as saying that he's only doing this.
Yeah, it's a one and done kind of thing. Yeah,
but some people say, well, not necessarily, because Disney and Marvel will have actors just lie direct to camera.
That is true. They will.
Like Andrew Garfield will just lie to your face.
Yeah.
Until he shows up in the movie. So Oscar Isaac, he might come back. I think it's more likely that they'll end this miniseries with the girl becoming the new Moon Knight, and then we can listen to all the fanboys whine and complain that Moon Knight is a guy. Why do they have to be all woke and make Moon Knight a woman? And then you have to say to them, shut up, you didn't care who Moon Knight was anyway before it got a miniseries.
I love it when people just act like the word woke is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So I've started watching this show on Paramount Plus called The Offer. And it's a biographical drama about how The Godfather was adapted into a movie, you know. And I've said on the show before, The Godfather is one of my favorite movies of all time. I know it. I know there's problems with it. I know that it's misogynistic. I know that it puts Italian Americans in a bad light, but that particular part of it has a lot to do with the show. You know, it is set in the 70s, and it's about the people that made the movie. So it's about Mario Puzo, and it's about Francis Ford Coppola and the producers and everything. And they're getting flack from the actual mafia that don't want this movie to come out. And they're putting out in the media that it is degrading to Italian Americans. You know, Frank Sinatra is a character in this. He doesn't want the movie to come out because what's the I want to say Vic Fontaine. It's not Vic Fontaine. It's
Corleone.
The crooner that's in the Godfather, that was like a friend of the family. His character was kind of based on Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
But and Frank Sinatra did not like it, you know, because there was a subtext that he was a homosexual and stuff like that. And John Irons is waiting to be admitted into the room, so here he comes. But yeah, it's really good. It's a period piece. I've only seen the first 2 episodes. I think they've released 3 episodes so far, and it's got kind of a mafia flavor to it, but it's also like old Hollywood, and I like old Hollywood type movies about how the movie business used to be, you know, when it was more of a thing than it is now, you know. John is here.
Hi.
We're just kind of talking about some of the stuff that we've been watching, but I will say that this show, The Offer, they're a little bit loose on the facts, because as little as I know about the behind the scenes of The Godfather, I've noticed a couple of things. So there's no telling what I haven't noticed. Like for instance, they make it look like Vic Damone. Okay, Johnny Fontaine. That was the guy's name in The Godfather. Johnny Fontaine is the character that I was talking about. Vic Damone, they made it look like he was the first person that they approached to be in the movie as this character. But what actually happened is they cast Al Martino to play this character, and then they took the part away from him and gave it to Vic Damone. And then Vic Damone was afraid of making Sinatra mad, so he pulled out. They gave it back to Al Martino, and he's the one that played him in the movie. So the fact that they kind of skirt around with the facts on that, I don't know. There could be bigger stuff that I don't realize that they're doing that. But anyway, what have you been watching, Scott?
Partially inspired by the wonderful job that Alison Pill has been doing in season 2 of Picard. I did a quick, it's really easy to do it. There's I think possibly less than 20, around 20 episodes of The Newsroom. Aaron Sorkin's second follow-up from West Wing. He did Studio 60, and then he did The Newsroom. It's not his best work, but it's an easy rewatch to just knock out all 3 seasons and be done with it. And Jeff Daniels is great.
Yeah. I've seen clips from it, but I've never watched the actual show.
And Alison Pill does a great job across these 3, relatively short seasons. Her character's progression from the beginning of the series to the end is really impressive. She does a great job. And like I said, with seeing her now in 2 seasons of Picard, she's just killing it. She is. I always knew that she had talent, but seeing her these days and rewatching The Newsroom, if you get past the fact that it's Aaron Sorkin and there are female characters in the show, which is not always a great combination, if you can get past that part and focus on her performance, she's really great.
Yeah.
Aside from that, we mentioned Moonknight, Superman and Lois. I'm keeping up on those. And for my obscure watch, I am making a slow progression through the only 2 seasons of Powers, which is John is chuckling, which makes me think that he knows what I'm talking about. A television adaptation of the Brian Michael Bendis comic book Powers, which was produced and released through the PlayStation Network.
Oh, yeah.
Back when they were trying to make original programming. Yikes.
I thought you were going to say that. What was that sitcom that took place in the DC universe?
No, Powerless.
No.
Yeah, Powerless. Yeah.
Yikes. No. I mean, I have it. I even I considered doing a rewatch, and I think I got 2 episodes in. I was like, I'm not going through this a second time. That show was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It was bad.
John, what about you? What have you been watching lately?
Okay, so this is not the Star Trek show, right? Well,
no, we've already done that. Yeah, we've already done that.
That's too bad. I had some notes. All right. What have I been watching? I've been watching probably things you've already discussed. So I'm going by the days of the week. On nothing comes out Monday or Tuesday, although Snowpiercer, the season just ended a few weeks ago. The TNT show.
Better Call Saul comes on Mondays, but that's
well. I haven't. Okay.
And Tuesdays is This Is Us.
Yeah, no. Wednesday is Moonknight. Thursday is Picard and Halo. Halo is good. I've been watching Halo. I never played the game, because I don't really like first person shooters often, but I know that the story is supposed to be great. I know it's like actually watching the show made me finally download the game. I don't know if I'll ever have time to play it, but I have it now. And Fridays, you got your Young Justice, you got Atlanta, Black Ladies sketch comedy show on HBO. Fantastic, all three. Yeah, man, like Young Justice is amazing. Like it's so good, so good.
Is that have they started a new season, or is this still the what season is
Like
coming out?
season 4 or 5. Like past the Cartoon Network. Yes.
Yeah.
They're yes. There's your next binge when you're done with Powers.
Yeah.
Catch up on Young Justice. My only complaint about, and literally my only complaint, is that they don't do a previously on Young Justice. Like they just start and they will reference anything that has happened on the show in the past 4 seasons. Like, and it takes place like over years and years and years. So when they start off, I think Robin is he's like little Robin, like Dick Grayson Robin, and he's 12, 13. And at this point it's 10, 15 years later, like this season.
I want to say that when they went into season 2, Grayson had become Nightwing, and Tim was the new Robin.
Maybe. That may have been, because I think there's like a 3 or 4 year jump from season 1 to 2. I think, or from 2 to 3. But like at this point, like some of the characters are parents. Like I don't read really comics anymore, so I don't know how much of this is based on storylines that have already happened in the comics or is relatively original content.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a surprise to me. They threw in a sweet Gargoyles reference at the start of this season. So on the Stranded Panda Network, with friend to the Infinite Potato, Matt Carroll, one of their shows is animation. I want to say animation deliberation, but I'm not sure that's right. I feel like that's right. I can hear the theme song, animation deliberation. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so I'm not going to say what the reference was, but I asked them if they saw it and if they caught it. I was like, no, I didn't get it. So I pointed out. I felt good. Anyway, great show, Young Justice. I recently, last weekend, my daughter, I don't know if I ever would have done this on my own, but she wanted to see Jurassic Park movies. So we binged all of the Jurassic Park movies up until the one that's, so she's all caught up for when the new one comes out. And playing puzzle video games.
How old is she?
She's 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Jurassic Park. Sometimes I forget how intense Jurassic Park is, and I think I made my daughter watch it when she was a little too young. I think she was about 8. And
I was on the fence. I was like, okay, but there's a show on Netflix.
Yeah.
The Camp Cretaceous or whatever, and it's not, they don't show as much, but it's like the same stuff happens. Like they're still eating people. So
yeah. So the other thing that I've been watching, the last 8 episodes of Ozark dropped on Netflix, and I've been kind of going through those. I haven't finished them yet, I think I've got like 4 episodes left. So we've been watching those, and my wife and I have this thing where towards the end of the night, because we watch a lot of dark shows, so towards the end of the night before we go to bed, we usually watch a sitcom, and sometimes it's like an older sitcom, and recently we've been watching Maude on Tubi. It's Tubi.
MAUDE mod.
Yeah,
B Arthur mod.
B Arthur, yeah. And it streams the streaming network Tubi. It's free on there, and well, they like release the first 2 seasons for a certain amount of time, and then they take them off, and they'll put season 3 and 4 on there for a certain amount of time, so we've been watching those, and that is a funny show. It really is. And Adrian Barbeau's on the show, and my wife made the comment the other day, said, I don't think she's very pretty. And I said, you go sit over there. I told her, men of my age, that was the first pair of naked boobies we ever saw.
How did that go over?
And she was like, whatever.
No, she's a very pretty lady.
Yes. Well, I mean, she's about 85 now, but
still holding it down.
She's a good looking 85.
And she's got a Star Trek connection, so that helps.
Yeah, she did play a Romulan on TNG. Was it? No, it's Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. Yeah. Inter Arma Inimicilent Legis.
Can I say my Picard notes, and you guys just tell me if you said it or not, if you already did it?
Yeah.
Crossover episode.
So I liked the episode overall, but parts of it were annoying to me. A lot of it was annoying to me because they didn't have to do things the way that they did them. Like, they could have gotten to the same result better. I made a list. Instead of Girardi explaining, here's why I hid the secret code right there. I'm like, why would you tell her? Like, what should have happened is she should have been like, I've hidden it where you'll never be able to get to it. And she, oh, foolish woman, here, let me pick your brain and find it. Oh, you've hidden it in a hologram program. Easy enough. And then she opens the program, and then Girardi says, yeah, I hid it in the safest place I could find inside him. Boom. Same reveal, better. I wasn't clear on, I think I figured it out later, or I understood it later, but the Borg army, I was like, they were still beaming people in when they were pinned down. Like, they had a little shootout. I'm like, if you can beam people, why are you having a shootout? Like, beam them behind the people you want to shoot, or just beam the people you want to shoot over a cliff.
There was a lot of logistical issues with that battle.
I was very confused about that. I was like, but again, they could have had Girardi disconnect the teleporter, or hold off, or lock the teleporter, or during the fight with Elnor, it gets shot and it's damaged, and that's why they can't. Like I'm saying, like, they could have easily accounted for these things.
Why didn't they just beam Picard and everybody out?
Exactly. I don't know. C. Hide and seek. This episode did not need the flashbacks to be that long. It could have used less or fewer flashbacks and achieved the same, if not better, results.
Yeah.
I mean, but by all means, still have them and still explain the motivation and the history and all that stuff. And obviously, You know what? And if you had done it less earlier in the episode, what happened later in the episode would have been more effective, I think.
I agree.
And D, I don't know if they were intentional references to other films or if I was just seeing references to other films. But Pulp Fiction, when Elnor was like going through the weapons, Thelma and Louise / the Blues Brothers with Rafi and Seven, when they would do, okay, we got this, and then they go, we're gonna go out in a blaze of glory. I guess there's also a little bit of Witch and Sundance too, actually. And Saving Private Ryan with the slow knife to the chest.
Yeah. All right.
That was a little bit John Wick with the slowly, and then with two people get that knife into the gut.
That was a little John Wick too. You're right.
We're all right. So Rick is here. How you doing, Rick?
I've had a day.
So
regardless of what it seems like, this is not that Star Trek podcast.
Yeah, John was just going over his Picard notes because he wasn't on the Picard show, and
I also missed the podcast.
We were waiting for you to join in so we can talk about this wonderful movie that we all watched.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
John. Did you you didn't watch it? Did you?
No.
Okay. All right.
I thought I was going to be on a Star Trek show.
So
by the way, Scott.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday,
Rick.
Thank you.
Yes.
Happy old birthday.
Old birthday.
Happy almost expired birthday.
So what we'll do is okay, I'll explain what we'll do. Okay, so I'm confused.
We were supposed to watch a wonderful movie? Because I don't know about y'all, but I watched Nashville.
A few years ago, we started going through the list of the 100 greatest movies of all time, according to IMDb. And we moved our way through about a quarter of it. We are going to try and pick it back up. And we're beginning with number 81, which was Nashville from 1975, written by Joan Tewksbury.
It was written
and directed by Robert Altman. And
that is a made-up name. His name is not Tewksbury.
Or maybe Tewksbury or something. Okay,
I think it's Tewksbury. It'd be funnier if it was Tewksbury.
Tewksbury. Okay, so here, this is a partial star list. It had Ned Beatty, Keith Carradine, Shelley Duvall, Henry Gibson, Scott Glenn, Jeff Goldblum, Lily Tomlin, and Elliot Gould.
What year is this movie from?
1975. And
that's a lot of stars.
What I thought we would do, well, there's a lot more people in it. There's like 25 characters.
That's not even a quarter of the people that were in this movie.
I thought that what we could do if we had somebody on that had not watched it is we will give our review of it, and then we will tell John whether or not we recommend he watch it or not.
I was just gonna say, should I just leave now since but great, I serve a purpose. Yay.
John, I think we're about to do you a big favor.
I mean, you guys are being super subtle, but I'm kind of picking up a vibe that maybe
the plot is, over the course of a few hectic days, numerous interrelated people prepare for a political convention. I had no idea what to expect from this movie, because the only other Robert Altman film that I know that I've seen, because I didn't really pay attention to who the director was and things like that, but was MASH. And I love that movie.
MASH is a classic,
but
a legit bona fide classic.
What that movie did that this one did not do was make a film that MASH was episodic. It had like these short vignettes. This would happen, and this would kind of wrap up, and then they go and they do this other thing, and it would kind of wrap up, and it was easily able to be translated into a sitcom later, because it was like these mini stories, and they put them all together and made this movie. That's not what Nashville was. Nashville was just like, here's a bunch of people, they're all doing something different, and we're just going to visit these people for 10 seconds, and then we're going to visit these people for 10 seconds and listen to a piece of their conversation, and then go listen to somebody else. And they spent about the first hour and a half introducing characters. The movie is
Wait.
2 hours and 40 minutes long.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah. So they spend the first hour and a half like introducing characters. The last hour of the movie, I'm not going to say it was good, but it was better than the first hour and a half because it kind of started to look like a movie, at some point. But the final scene is supposed to be like this. I mean, I won't spell out everything that happened, but I mean,
I don't care.
I might as well. So
I'm not gonna watch it.
It's like a violent parody of American politics that it kind of works a little bit for even today's world, but as much as it did then. But as much as I like the way that it ended, I can't recommend it. It's too hard to get through. It's a slog. I was an hour into it and I was contemplating turning it off, but I didn't. I watched the whole thing. And but yeah, that's what I thought of it. It was just not, it just wasn't good. It just wasn't. There was pieces of it that were, it was supposed to be a comedy. I didn't laugh that much, but there was a couple of things that would happen here and there that was funny. That little thing that happened right there was funny. That thing that he said was funny, or whatever. But there was nothing that happened that I really thought was a comedy, even though it's called a comedy, But
I didn't get the sense that it was supposed to be a comedy.
It's not a comedy. It's a satire. It's straight up satire, but Hollywood doesn't know how to pigeonhole a satire, so they'll just go, "Oh, it's a comedy."
Yeah, that's what I said. It had listed in IMDb that it's a comedy satire. Even though
it's
it does
not
have
a drama, so they don't know what to call it.
It does have some comedic actors in it. Lily Tomlin's in it. Jeff Goldblum's in it, even though he never says anything. He's I don't know if he's mute or if he just doesn't have anything to say. I don't know.
He does really bad magic tricks.
Yeah. But
I think one singular bad magic trick, and then beyond that, completely useless to the movie.
Yeah.
He is 100% superfluous.
Well, he gave Shelley Duvall a ride at one point.
He was supposed to be. I think
everyone did in this movie.
Yeah. I think he was supposed to be the character that would flow between scenes. Like when he would leave a location, that would be the end of the scene. And then we were supposed to see the next scene. We were supposed to see him arriving, and then that everybody would kind of show up.
Someone needed to tell the editor that. Then,
yeah, it didn't work out that way. But yeah. So, what'd you guys think, Rick? I know you hated it.
I didn't hate it.
Did you watch the whole thing?
No, I didn't. I tapped out at an hour 14. You may have seen the Facebook Messenger conversation. That was it hit one of my triggers that I can't get through. Domestic violence, spousal abuse, that kind of stuff. That's if I don't have to watch it, I won't. This could be a subject for a whole show. Trigger warnings, I am not for them. I don't expect someone to do my homework for me. But when I get to something, I'll either, research, ask, hey, does this movie deal or TV show, and you all have helped me out in this venue. If a movie or a TV show involves certain things that I cannot enjoy or I do not wish to expose myself to because they hit too close to home, I will just not watch it.
Let me ask you something. Did that scene? I'm trying to remember because, and I may have dozed off or something. The scene that you're talking about, did he actually physically hit her, or was it more of a psychological?
It was the psychological
gaslighting kind of thing.
You made me raise my voice to you.
Yeah, I remember that, but I was trying to remember if he hit her before he said that or something.
No, there was nothing physical, not there, nor was it later. And not to say that Rick is wrong in any way, but that was, in my opinion, that was the worst of it. From him to her in that scene.
If I had time,
it, right? Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be. It just has to be there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know how you said at about an hour in you were ready to tap out, but you soldiered through.
Yeah.
I was ready to tap out after about 45 minutes because I saw this movie was going abso-freaking-lutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And I was hanging on for the sake of the podcast. And then we got to that, and I'm like, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know how Spinal Tap, you've all seen This Is Spinal Tap, I presume.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how they you know, famously shot like 400 hours of film and then edited it down to like, you know, the 2 hours of genius that is This Is Spinal Tap, and almost none of it was scripted. They just had sort of a general outline of what they were going to do with each scene, and then they just went go and they filmed it. I kind of think this movie was shot the same way, except they didn't cut anything out. They just taped it all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just threw it onto a projector.
So was I don't know if that was the IMDb or Wikipedia description. Well, would you guys say that synopsis was accurate? They're preparing for a convention or
I
something?
mean, those things happened in the movie.
So,
It
I
did.
would call
It was a 5-day period.
was there a plot that is more correct than that?
I think plot is being generous.
There wasn't really a plot at all. It's just a bunch of individual stories that happen to be happening at the same time, and then at the end
in the
of
same general city,
Somewhere around the Nashville area.
And then at the end of it, and through this whole thing, you see a truck driving around with this political guy's. I can't remember his name, but he's got a political thing written all across the side of his truck.
The Replacement Party,
and he's just playing almost like a podcast of him just spouting off all his political ideology as he's driving around. They're just playing it over these loudspeakers.
He's got the giant speakers like from the Blues Brothers on top of this van.
So he keeps driving through the
Re-elect
scenes.
Mayor Red Thomas. Progress is his middle name.
And then at the end of it, it's his political rally, and all the characters show up for that. And
now let me
and
ask
that's when
you
it became
something.
interesting.
No,
it wasn't interesting.
I don't know.
I mean,
I was
it's
gone by
just-
that
You
point.
said, well, you said Sean said
it became more of a movie. There's some semblance of a plot happened at that point.
Let me ask you.
The last hour became almost a cohesive movie, but not really. And then yes, the end of the movie takes place at a political rally, but really only one person is preparing for a political convention. Everyone else is just kind of pinballing around in the vicinity.
Well,
and this is from a guy who went from opening credits to closing credits. I watched the whole thing with 8 minutes to spare between the closing credits and the start of recording for tonight.
Yeah, the just to spell it out, there's a character in it that's like a Loretta Lynn stand-in. She's that kind of country music singer. And at the end of it, there is a guy that pulls out a gun and shoots her while she's on stage. And not for any particular reason to shoot her. He just wanted to shoot somebody. And he was in the entire movie. And there was
I'm laughing because Sean is even that is more motivation than the movie gives us. The movie gives us zero motivation for the shooting. Zero.
Yeah, we just all we had was that he was carrying around a fiddle case through the entire movie, and it could be a fiddle in there or it could be a gun. It's Schrodinger's fiddle,
and it turned out to be a gun. Why? We don't know. And he shot this female musician who had been in the hospital because she was burned somehow, but then she got better and she came back, and everyone's glad that she's back. And then she collapsed and she's back in the hospital, and then she gets back up on stage and is performing, and then she just starts rambling on, has a bit of a breakdown, and then she's apparently back in the hospital again. But then she's back on stage, and this guy shoots her. Why? We don't know.
We never find out why he shot her. We never find out if she lived or died. They just took her off stage. And then that's the end of the movie. I mean,
I'll tell you the two things I took away from this movie. One, and it's a question I want to ask, is, Sean, I presume, and this may be a big assumption, are you at least familiar with country music?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm married to Sherry Ray.
Okay. Well, yeah.
And we all know what that means.
So I'm wondering if there was in any way this movie had was like maybe a send up of country music tropes that I just don't get because I don't listen to country music at all. Once I stopped watching Hee Haw, that was the extent of my exposure to country music.
There were some characters that were composites of actual people. I think what was the guy's name? Hayden, or the
dude that was the main,
the guy that Henry
singer
Gibson
guy
played.
That was an asshole, that was played by Henry Richardson.
Yeah, he was
Hayden.
He was supposed to be kind of a Porter Wagner type, flamboyant country singer.
He felt like he was. Yeah. They were spoofing somebody with him, but I had no idea. I thought, Henry Richardson to me is Henry Gibson.
Laughing.
I only know him from Laughing, where he would like show up and read some stupid poem and then nebbish away.
For me, it's The Burbs.
Yeah,
I never made it through that movie. The other thing I took away from this movie is, my God, Shelley Duvall is gorgeous, and I don't know why they don't let her be gorgeous in other movies. But that's the main takeaway, is something about country music, and boy, is Shelley Duvall hot. That's like all I got.
So this is on the list, right? This is why you guys watched it, because
it's
on the list of top 100, and it's 90 something.
81. Going down from 100, it's the 19th one that we've seen, that we watched.
I have a theory about that, actually.
What's that?
And I have said this many times about Star Trek, the original series, and some other properties that we've talked about over the past decade and a half. Some things are important because they were groundbreaking, and you have to kind of put them into a historical context. And I have a feeling that this movie may have been like the first time anyone had done something like this. And so everybody went, wow, this is so revolutionary. It's got to be good, even though I don't get it. And then that cachet just kind of stuck with it over the decades, and people just went, oh, well, Nashville's great because people said it was amazing, and they put it on the list, and no one ever actually looked at it.
Well, I'll tell you the quote that I found in my research that I think explains everything is that Altman said that this movie is the first time that he was able to do whatever he wanted without any studio interference. I was like, so it's the Phantom Menace, right?
It shows. Because
you know what I compare it to? And I know you all are going to disagree with me on this, and you're going to go, oh, here goes Rick Tarantino bashing again. But Reservoir Dogs, I don't think is that great of a movie, but nobody had done that up to that point. And because it was, breaking through barriers, I think the movie gets a lot more credit than it deserves. And I think that's the same thing that's going on with Nashville.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't disagree with your premise. I can see that. I can even agree with it, but it doesn't sound like Reservoir Dogs. I don't think it was like super great, but I mean, it was certainly a watchable movie. Like,
it's a better movie than Nashville. I'll give you that.
Yeah. It's much shorter. I think he's only like 90 minutes. So.
But I didn't like Reservoir Dogs, and I've seen it more than once for various reasons. And, people rave about it like it's one of the greatest movies ever made. And I don't see it, but I will grant you that it broke a lot of barriers. And I think it gets more praise than it deserves because of that.
Well, I will also say, kind of what you're saying about, put yourself in the mindset of the zeitgeist at the time. I think Reservoir Dogs gets a lot of residual credit because of Pulp Fiction, and people are like, wow, this is amazing. What else has this guy done?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's very much happened because I saw Reservoir Dogs after Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, so did I.
Pulp Fiction bored the hell.
Reservoir Dogs has 3 or 4 incredible scenes, and then the rest is just stuff that happens between
people swearing at each other.
Scott, I don't think I ever actually asked you what your review is. If you wanted to, before we do something else.
It's not all that different from what we've been talking about. I sat down, I hit play, and it went all the way through. I didn't pause it, I didn't rewind it, I didn't do nothing. I tried to turn on the subtitles, but for some reason, the app that I use to watch my digital library that's on my computer to stream it to the TV, it doesn't like subtitles. I can turn them on, and at best they'll stay on for about 10 seconds and then they fade away.
So I had say that was the best review of anything I've ever heard in my entire life. I sat down, I hit play, and it went all the way through. There you go. That tells you all you need to know.
That's about the most that I can say for
that
it.
Movie happened.
If anyone were to ask me directly, so I've heard about this movie Nashville. What's it about? I don't know.
Bunch of stuff happens.
Long.
Well, what's the plot of the movie? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. The biggest takeaway from the movie for me was playing where's the star that I recognize.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm watching for Scott Glenn. Where is he? Oh, there's Scott Glenn. That's the first time he's shown up in the movie. This is going to be great because I like Scott Glenn. I like when he shows up and stuff. Let's see what he does. Oh, he just walked through the scene and I was gone.
And you don't see him again for 30 minutes or whatever.
And why did Elliot Gould just drift in for some reason and then go away?
You want to know why?
He was just Robert there. Altman would be my guess.
He just showed up and
Altman
on
the set one day.
Altman
he was like, "Oh, you making another movie? Can I be in it?" Sure.
That's exactly right, Rick. He happened to be on set that day. He visited the set, and Robert Altman was like, "Hey, you want to be in the movie? You can play yourself." And he did.
Yeah, they did. They didn't even say this is like, Bob Smoker, the famous star. It was like, no, you want to meet Elliot Gould? There he is.
Yeah. And he really didn't say much. I mean, he had like maybe one line.
Yeah, they just came up with some stuff and they improv some stuff with Elliot Gould because he happened to be on set. And then when Julie Christie happened to stop by, they did the exact same damn thing.
That whole party. Go ahead.
5 or 6 other movies that should replace this on the list.
Oh God!
Like they need to redo the list because there's some more modern films that can take that spot.
The next movie that we're gonna watch on the list is did I write it down? I know the original cut of the movie was so long that they originally were planning to release it as like 2 different movies called Nashville Red and Nashville Blue. Oh, God. IMDb top 100 greatest movies of all time. The ultimate list. Let me pull it up.
Maybe in the upper 50, they were just going around the office going, "Hey, what do you want? What do you think we should put on the list?"
Hey, do you watch anything over the weekend? Well, I went back. I watched Nashville because I'm doing a Robert Altman rewatch, so I watched Nashville. I put it on the list.
What'd you think? I don't know. It was high as fuck.
Yeah. The next one that we're gonna watch, we'll probably do that next month, is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's number 80 on the list. All right, so
a long time.
So the IMDb list that I'm looking at is very different.
There's a couple of different lists.
I thought didn't we start off with the AMC list?
I thought you were watching the AFI top 100.
No, we've been doing the. No.
Holy shit! Are we doing 8 different lists?
It's the top 100 greatest movies of all time from IMDb.
You were looking at the top 100 movies named after places. Clearly, you just pulled up the wrong list.
Before we end, I had a game that we were going to do, and I waited instead of doing it at the top of the show. I waited until Rick was here so we could end the show.
Well, thank you.
So we don't end with a bad taste in our mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the circle to the 3 of you guys, and the name of this game is Movie Part 4. I'm going to tell you guys a film series. And this is all going to be assigned. And you have to tell me the complete title of the 4th film in that series.
Oh, I'm so screwed here.
For instance, if I said...
Scott, we can go and give Scott the prize on this.
So get Scott.
For instance, if I said... Indiana Jones, you would say Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
No, I
Or
would
you
never
could
say that.
or you could say Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I wouldn't say that either.
Or I could say the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, because that's as close as I'm going to come to watching that.
All right, I'm
watched
going
it.
to start with Rick.
Okay.
Die Hard.
Sorry, that's 2 F-bombs in less than 2 minutes. I apologize. It's
Not to steal.
been a
Oh, we're doing that?
I am.
Die Hard 4 was that Die Hard with a Vengeance?
No.
No.
Scott,
Live Free or Die Hard.
Live Free or Die Hard.
Was that the
Die
one
Hard-
with Kevin Smith?
Yes.
Okay, I did see it.
I never saw
Live
it,
Free or
but I
Die
knew-
Hard
but
was
I
the
knew that
fifth
was
one.
the fourth one.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith was the best thing in that movie.
John,
Mhm.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh, no fair.
I made a list.
Okay, so I feel like this is so. Are we talking? Is this like
It's
the
not
original?
a trick question. It's not a trick question.
This
It's
is
the
the
fourth
original-
Planet of the Apes movie.
Okay, all right. So there was the first one.
The new ones, they haven't even made 4 of them yet.
Well, that's what I didn't know if you. All right, it doesn't matter. All right. So the first one and Beneath
Rick to Steal.
and War for the Planet of the Apes. It's something like that. It's like War or Battle or
Something like that doesn't count.
okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, maybe if you get the
I'm
names
there.
reversed, you get in trouble.
Look, if I get it wrong, I should get it wrong. And on the previous game, I let you have it. That was like you didn't have to have the title correct, but the point of the game was the title of the movie. I'm sorry, man. Sometimes I can give you a leeway.
I'm really not that bothered about it. I just happened to listen to it today.
I'm gonna say Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
That's not it. Rick,
Okay, it goes Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and
Return?
Battle 2.
I thought it was Battle for, but maybe it's Return. If it's Return, I still want credits. That's it.
It was Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, because they didn't expect a sequel, and Beneath the Planet of the Apes is weird as hell because they had to pull something out of their ass. And then Escape was when Cornelius and Zira
Went back in time.
and then it was Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
that's it.
Oh, that's
Conquest.
it. Yeah. Good job.
All right. All right, Scott.
See how I was gracious in defeat, did I?
What was the name of the 4th movie in the Rambo series?
Rambo.
That is correct.
Fourth Blood.
All right, Rick. James Bond.
Oh God.
Ooh.
It was Dr. No. Casino Royale. I'm just gonna take a wild stab in the dark and say Goldfinger.
Nope. Anybody else want to try?
I will also take a stab in the dark. How about Never Say Never Again?
No, that was way in.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Man.
You know what? That's like my favorite one, and you're not allowed to say that because people get really upset.
I could literally just start naming
Got it.
James Bond movies and never hit it.
You want to try?
Right. This is the one that I was hoping I wouldn't get, because my knowledge of the early Bond films is not where it would need to be. But I'll take a swipe and say Man with the Golden Gun, because it's likely is not.
No, it's not.
No,
It's not
that's
Her
Roger
Majesty's.
Moore.
It's not Her Majesty's Secret Service.
it's actually funny because the one that John said is Never Say Never Again, which was technically a remake
Oh,
of
Thunderball.
Thunderball.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, John.
Mhm.
Halloween.
Halloween 4.
Remember, full
that-
title. Full title.
Is that Was that Halloween 4 Season of the Witch?
No, that was Halloween 3. Scott?
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
That is correct. All right.
Never seen a Halloween movie.
Scott,
Yeah.
this one's yours.
This game is going unshockingly, shockingly as exactly as I predicted it would happen. No one knows any of these. Scott.
All right. Friday the 13th.
Oh boy.
Jason Does Dallas.
I'm pretty sure Manhattan is the
Friday the
fifth
13th,
one.
Part 4, Saturday.
Mm. Yeah, I think Jason Takes Manhattan is.
No, Jason Takes Manhattan, I think, was
That's
the
like
8th.
that's like
12
12
or
or
something.
9. Yeah.
I'm entirely not sure. Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter.
I'm going to give it to you. The actual title is Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
But there's no Part 4.
They didn't put a Part 4. Yeah, they didn't call it Part 4.
Jason Meets the Phantom of the Park.
All right.
Now, I was expecting Rick to say that by John's rules that you get it wrong.
No, actually,
Rich.
John would let you have it because he's already established it's a Part 4. I would let you have that. That's fine.
Rocky and Bullwinkle, the final chapter.
All right, Rick.
And really, you shouldn't even have made an excuse for that. You should know better.
I should have. That doesn't stop me from bitching about it.
All right, Rick, Lethal Weapon.
Oh shit.
I'm still.
God, it's been so long since I've seen any of those movies.
The one I know.
Yeah, Murtaugh's crazier. I don't know. I've got nothing.
All right, John.
This is Lethal Weapon 4.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon 4.
Y'all are watching the video.
All right, John, this one's yours. Child's Play.
Ooh, okay. Child's Play, I think it's the bride in the third one. So, Son of Chucky.
Nope. Anybody else want to try?
Child's Play 4.
Is that the one where they get the kid though?
Is it the one where they get the kid? I don't think so.
Because the bride was in 3, right?
No, because Child's Play 4 was Bride of Chucky.
Bride of Chucky. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Then it was Seed of Chucky.
Seed of
then-
Chucky.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was thinking of.
And
They
then
seriously named a movie Seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then I believe it was Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky.
All right, Scott, this one's yours. Shrek.
Oh, John Steele.
Shrek Forever After.
Yeah, but they didn't do a play on the number 4. It was just Shrek Forever After.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. Sometimes
one could forgive me for assuming that they would be
and I think I have seen it written like that.
trite enough to be Forever After.
Rick,
Mm-hmm.
X-Men.
Okay, so we're getting into the field of technicalities here. The
The 4th movie in the series.
fourth X-Men movie was oh, what the hell was it called? X-Men First Class?
No. John, Ross, Scott, either one of you want to try?
I understand Rick's hesitance. I'm gonna try Days of Future Past.
No.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't that one.
Well, because there were the first 3, and then
If
they
I get
started-
this right, will you grant me a boon, Sean?
Grant you a what?
Grant me a boon. Just say yes.
Don't say
Yes.
yes.
I don't know
Okay.
what that means, but yes.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh,
Okay, give Rick the point.
Okay.
That's not an X-Men movie. That's a Wolverine movie. Rick
It
gets
has
the point.
X-Men in the title. It is an X-Men movie.
If we're
And
talking
And I
about
think
the
I think it
X-Men,
does take place. I think the events do take place because I think he leaves 3 and he walks back up to the camp.
And Hugh Jackman played Wolverine. So
the X-Men Origins Wolverine is a spin-off, and it's also a prequel to the entire series. The 4th movie in the X-Men series is First Class. That's really
no,
the
we're not
only-
going chronologically. We're going what
Well,
was
I
the
feel like
4th movie in the series that was released?
I feel like you can make an equal argument for Days of Future Past as well as you can make for First Class.
All right, John.
Fair enough, but I really think that Wolverine should be considered a spin-off and not really part of the series, and Rick gets the point for that.
I agree with Scott, and we all know he's going to win anyway. So, like, the points even matter at this point.
and I thank you, and yeah, you've so totally trounced so many ways.
All right. John,
Unless you got 40 other questions up there.
Terminator.
So 2 was Judgment Day, 3 was Rise of the Machines, 4 was this is the one that I liked and nobody else liked. I can
Half of it was really good. Because the dude from Avatar, his storyline I thought was great. It was
now see,
John
this is
Connor
gonna
part
actually
that
piss me off because I do actually know this one and I can't remember it.
Rick's trying to slide some sly hints his way.
I can't remember the title of it though.
No, I remember scenes from it. I remember it because I actually saw it in the theater. The only time I saw it. It's like Terminator 4, Fury Road. It was like it wasn't Genesis. It was like it's like Apocalypse, or it was something. It was one word that gave a hint of post-nuclear devastation. I know that really narrows it down. Nope.
Scott, do you know?
Of course
I do.
He does. Just say Scott.
Terminator Salvation.
That's
Salvation. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
All right.
It was like 2/3 of a good movie. I just thought the John Connor storyline was sad.
You know what? 1 was very good. 2 was very, very good. 3 was not good. So 4 was better. So maybe that's why I liked it.
See, I liked 3 more than I liked 4. I thought 3 wasn't half bad.
That's not correct. You just like looking at the pretty lady.
No,
right.
no.
Scott, this one's yours. This is the last one. Ice Age.
I said, oh shit.
You only got like 14 to choose from.
Might as well ask me what the 4th Land Before Time is.
I might be able to steal this. Let me give me a second.
John's looking over at his DVD collection.
Sharon's only just discovering the Ice Age movies, and
No DVD collection.
that freaking squirrel.
I was looking off into the middle distance.
I think he's annoying as hell, but
I think it's a
Technically not a
muskrat.
squirrel. He's a scrat.
Yeah.
Muskrat.
it's still
It's a-
annoying.
It's
Whatever.
a prehistoric small rodent, so it's not.
Squirrel type creature. Yeah.
Prehistoric rodent. We'll go with that.
Crit is its name.
This is as blind a stab as I could come up with, but Ice Age, The Thaw.
Nope.
You're very close. I think this is the one with the Meltdown.
No, it's not Meltdown. It is Ice Age 4 Continental Drift.
Continental Drift. Yeah, I was like, it was the one where there's basically the pirate movie, but I couldn't remember which one was which. Yeah, the meltdown is they need to flee, and it doesn't matter.
Rick got 2, John got 1, Scott got 7. So.
Yeah.
This is my shocked face.
So if you took our scores and combined it and then squared it, we would still lose.
No, if you combine and then square,
If we probably squared it, we would win.
then you got me beat by 2.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, check out our Patreon. This month we did Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park, or Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, and that is available.
I apologize to everyone that had to watch.
That is available on Patreon as a video and as an audio podcast. So however you want to consume that, it is available there for a donation of $3 per month, or you can become a producer like Brandon Ushio, Tom Corcoran, and Dale Goodall, and that's being a member at the $10 level. So come and check it out at patreon.com/infinite potato. And if you want to contact the show, just stay tuned, and announcer Nate will let you know in just a minute how you can do that. Rick, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
You can find me all over the network, but I have a message I want to send out to everyone. And I know none of our listeners do this, but if you know someone that does this, I want you to do me a favor and just smack them like Will Smith at the Oscars. Because I have seen more whining and complaining. Okay, we've all been looking forward to Strange New Worlds, the new Star Trek series. Ever since they announced it, the world went, oh my God, we're going back to what Star Trek used to be. They released a trailer, and the internet has not stopped bitching since it came out.
Yeah.
Stop. If you know someone who decides that a series is going to suck based on a 45-second trailer, smack them for me. And then find me up in the Iris.
More of the new woke Trek.
I'm just Star Trek fans are really
AKA
pissing me off.
The
lately.
Trek.
But you can find me talking about Star Trek on that Star Trek podcast, or you can find me on Open the Iris, our Stargate SG-1 watch along. I remembered the word this time. Show, or whatever else I decide I might want to ramble about online.
All right, John, what about you?
You can find me hosting my game show on the network, Captain Game Show, the game show of the network. These gentlemen, as well as others, have graced its virtual stage with their presence, and hopefully there will be guests again. 3 rounds of trivia, wordplay, 1 round of improv, and a season-long arc. Where I was talking about, we like the individual shows that also have a season-long arc. That's what the hidden game is, ladies and gentlemen. Each show stands on its own, but you can string them together and play the year-long game that is the hidden game. This time, clues more obvious than ever before, but will be completely meaningless until I tell you what to do with at the end of the season.
That's what I just wrote down. I was listening to the show in my car, and I just remembered that I had to write down the clue.
All right, Scott.
On rare occasions, you can hear me on this show as well as that Star Trek podcast, and once in a while on Captain Game Show. As of this recording, the episode that released either today or yesterday features me. But even though my podcasting is more rare than it used to be, I am still trying to plug away at my graphic art business, which you can check out some of that work on my website, www.planetrisecreative.com, or find me on Twitter at PlanetRise. I'm open for commissions. I have designed book covers and social media avatars and banners and logos, posters, photo manipulation, and so on. So if you have a graphic art project that needs some doing, reach out and let me know. We can probably work something out.
All right. And that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for joining us. Be sure to join us next time on Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast, when you might hear John say,
I think it's interesting that people only ever boogie in one direction.